Hi there, I'm Vukovic. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. It is the 2nd of June. Developing stories. We've got a storm risk today. Rain? Yes? No? Maybe? You hear that a lot from us, don't you? We'll explain coming up. And scenes in Fort McMurray have been very emotional. That coming into us. A tweet from Sean, one of our cameramen, a picture of some of the damage from the fire. And you can see, and this is drone video, by the way. So he's got this crazy little machine. It whips all around. It's awesome. But it's just like, oof, it is heartbreaking. Now, one of the radio guys in, I believe, Edmonton did this. And Deb Medichka, best sign ever. It used to say, welcome to Fort McMurray. And now it says, welcome home, Fort McMurray. Just like, oof. The fire risk today, low through parts of Fort McMurray. So the risk of new fires popping up is very low. We checked in with Chrissy and Deb throughout the day yesterday, and Chrissy got a chance to talk to some of the residents. Here she is. Yeah, it's been really emotional. I mean, they've had firefighters come as far from, South Africa that have been coming over to fight the fires. Now, taking a look right across the country, we are going to be seeing that heat really start to build throughout the prairie provinces, especially to the south and to the east. Well, things are a little bit different. I mean, today it's going to be hot and stormy for much of southern Ontario, through Peterborough, through anywhere through the lower Great Lakes. Toronto feeling like 32. If you're watching us in Kingston, it's going to be a hot and sticky one as well, with that risk for a few isolated thunderstorms. That trend is going to continue further east. Ottawa feeling closer to 32. Okay. Which weather extreme is more challenging to deal with? This is the question of the day, and a lot of people say humidex instead of wind chill. I don't know if I agree. I don't agree. Here's a look at what some people said. I don't agree. I really, really don't agree. Wind chill is like, oh, it hurts your face. Humidex, you can always get away from it from air conditioning. I guess if you don't have it. But coming up, this is what we're going to be talking about. Of course, your local forecast details come up next. And in 3 minutes, we're going to be talking about the top 5 stories out of Fort McMurray. And of course, in 10 minutes, we're going to be taking a look at your national headlines. They include some thunderstorms, homes and ruined cars. We're going to be checking in with Deb Medichka and Chrissy Van in just a few moments. I'm Vukovic. Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking at these top weather events. We've got a couple of systems that we're watching. One in the west, still bringing that rain along the coast of British Columbia, and then one in the east. Now, this one has the potential to bring us a few isolated, possibly severe cells along the Quebec-Ontario border. And we'll get to those details in just a few moments. But first, let's check in with Deb and Chrissy. Thanks so much for that report, Chrissy. We are taking a look at the forecast for Fort McMurray for cleanup efforts. Weekend looks great. Saturday and Sunday, lots of sunshine. Now, the fire danger risk today is more so towards southern Alberta, in through Saskatchewan, and even in through parts of southern Ontario. Yes, we have seen some rain, but not a ton. Right, so long-range forecast for Fort McMurray, temperatures, conditions look good. Now, the phased re-entry into Fort McMurray re-established. So those are all the main criteria. Do you have that risk for some isolated thunderstorms throughout eastern Ontario today? We are going to be seeing some showers and locally higher with thunderstorms. Hi there, I'm Vukovic. Thank you for joining us here on the Weather Network. It's Thursday. It is the 2nd of June. Taking a look right across the country at our temperatures, things are really starting to heat up in the west. We've got the heat building in. You can start to see it in these kind of like red, yellowy, even like orangey hues right across the southern prairies. And with that, we've got an isolated system on the way. It has been bringing copious amounts of rain. Look at that, 40 to 60 millimeters along the North Shore. And the thunderstorm risk is going to be there throughout the day today as well. We've got the chance for isolated, non-severe cells firing up through parts of Alberta. Good news, Fort McMurray, you're not in there. And then in through Saskatchewan, some small hail, strong wind gusts, heavy downpours. That's certainly going to be a bit of a story. Okay, take a look at these rainfall totals that we've been seeing through Saskatchewan and in through Manitoba over the last couple of days. It has been a soaker. Fairlight, Saskatchewan, 95 millimeters. Pearson, Manitoba, the big winner at 68 millimeters. The good news is that that system is really going to track its way out, and by later on this afternoon, you could be seeing some sunshine, which is nice. We've got this area of low pressure that's going to be tracking through the prairies, however, today and into tomorrow, bringing in scattered showers, possible isolated thunderstorms, mostly along the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border. That's where we're going to see that heavier rain follow through. and then it's going to move its way to the east, and we'll talk about that thunderstorm risk in a moment. Moncton, Montreal, I mean, it's warm to the east. Halifax only sitting at 13 degrees. That area of high pressure has really cleared out the air. So that heat and the humidity, that's gone for the most part through Atlantic Canada. But through southern Ontario, it's still there. And we'll talk more about that coming up in your Long Ranger, which comes up after your top videos with Chris Murphy. A look ahead right into the weekend for Friday. We've got this area of low pressure tracking its way east off the Maritime provinces. High pressure moving in. Good day Saturday, but Sunday could see some rain through the lower Great Lakes, and that ridge is building in the west. High pressure in place, warming up the temperatures. It's Thursday. It is the 2nd of June. I'm Emily Vukovic. You're watching the Weather Network and the developing stories that we're talking about this hour. Storm risk today. Rain? Yes, no, maybe? I know you hear that a lot from us, and we'll explain those details coming up. And scenes in Fort McMurray. Take a look at this must-see video. Look at this emotional sign. Now, I know one of the radio guys, I think he works in Edmonton, he did this, and it used to say, "Welcome to Fort McMurray," and he put, "Welcome home, Fort McMurray." Best sign ever, tweeted Deb. Images from a single home and forested area next to it completely destroyed. Look at the green grass, though. I mean, it was so hit and miss in some of the communities. Now, the fire risk today is much lower throughout parts of Alberta. It's starting to kind of get a little bit higher through southern Alberta and in through southern Saskatchewan. But it's not bad. I mean, we've seen some much needed rain through the area. Now, where we are going to be seeing a higher fire risk is going to be through southern Ontario. It's been really, really dry there. We haven't seen a lot of rain. It's not good. Okay, we've been talking about our poll question. What's too hot? Do you like heat or do you like wind chill? We're going to talk those results in just a few moments, too. Okay, 28, feeling like 32 this afternoon through Toronto. We've got a system coming through that's going to be pushing through, and it's going to be giving us the chance of some isolated thunderstorms. All right, let's check in with Nathan Coleman. No way, Nate. You're totally wrong. I think most people are going with that, though. Like, I am all about the wind chill. Nope. Thank you. Yes, I know you can bundle, but you can also step into air conditioning. More details to your locals coming up. Thank you for joining us. It is Thursday. It's the 2nd of June, and I honestly, where did May go? I can't even believe we're into the first month of meteorological summer. That runs June, July, and August, by the way. Quick look across the country. We've got this area of low pressure tracking through southern Ontario, moving east and to the west. Well, that low is going to be bringing us a risk of a few isolated thunderstorms. Okay, never mind. Talk about that after. We are going to be talking about what's happening in BC, however. See, I just returned from maternity leave, so I'm allowed to make a couple of mistakes. Please allow me a couple of mistakes. Okay, the rain along the coast of BC, we're looking at 40 to 60 millimeters, and we are going to continue to see unsettled conditions track through Alberta. Here is the Fort McMurray video. See? I know what's going on. That's right. Have you seen the sign? I'm going to show you a picture of that coming up. I mean, it's used to say welcome to Fort McMurray, but now it says welcome home Fort McMurray. It's really, really sweet. Okay, high level, looking at 21, Slave Lake 17 degrees today, some showers. I mean, for the cleanup efforts for residents that are returning through Fort McMurray, we're looking at 22 degrees today, and the weekend is looking really decent as well. Isolated non-severe thunderstorms for the most part through parts of Alberta and in through Saskatchewan with this low. See, Fort McMurray just kind of on the cusp of those showers, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some rain throughout the day tomorrow, but come the weekend, clears out behind it. To the south, the heat is on. We'll talk about that as well. Cumulative rainfall throughout southern Ontario. We've got a low tracking through. A lot of places already saw some isolated showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms this morning, but moving into the afternoon, 5 to 15 millimeters. We could see local higher amounts, of course, if we do see those thunderstorms. Isolated severe, possibly just right along that Quebec-Ontario border. Okay, that poll question, what do you like? Do you like heat or do you like the wind chill? Well, here's Nate with his answer. Thanks so much, Nate. Can you believe we actually have a frost advisory through parts of Atlantic Canada, Newfoundland, and in through Nova Scotia? It's going to be chilly through the overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. Your locals are next. You're watching the Weather Network. I'm Emily Vukovic. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. It is the 2nd of June. We've been talking a lot about the systems tracking right across the country. We've got one in the west, we've got one in the east, but first let's take a look at this must-see video. Ben's doesn't look so great. It's been very difficult for many people returning to the area. There's that system to the east. The good news is that we've got fairly clear conditions through much of Fort McMurray, which is really, really good news. We are going to be seeing temperatures hovering into the low 20s, and for cleanup efforts on the weekend, look at that. Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at 23 degrees and 25 degrees. So nice, warm, pleasant. It's not going to be too bad. Okay, the fire danger risk, we'll talk about that in just a few moments. But first, Deb Medietka and Chrissy Van were in Fort McMurray yesterday. And here's Chrissy as she talks to some of the residents. Thanks, Chrissy. Well, we do still have that thunderstorm risk, but mostly non-severe nature. Fort McMurray not included in this. This is tracking more through to southern Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Your local details are coming up. In this beautiful video of the water. Penticton, such a gorgeous, gorgeous spot. If you are going to be in Penticton today, well, we do have the chance of a few isolated showers moving in through parts of BC, but for the most part, we're looking at 40 to 60 millimeters of rain along the North Shore, so it could be intense at times. Okay, Fort McMurray has been a big story over the... Absolutely. It's not only been the community of, Fort McMurray, but the province of Alberta, the whole country of Canada, and even around the world. People have really shown their support. The fire danger risk, you can see by the legend, it's low through much of the country, but we still have that risk through parts of Alberta. But where we are seeing a higher risk is through southern Ontario, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Fort McMurray, we're looking at 22 degrees today, slight risk of a few isolated showers, and we do have a thunderstorm risk as well through parts of Alberta and Saskatchewan. This low is going to be moving its way east throughout the day today and into tomorrow. We'll start to see a clearing trend behind it. High pressure moves into the area, and the heat is going to start to build throughout the lower Great Lakes. That low tracks its way east, brings showers through the Inner Lake regions through Manitoba. Now, throughout southern Ontario, we are going to be seeing showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today. It's been wet, that's for sure, and another round is possible throughout the day today. Okay, we are on the first month of meteorological summer. Here's Nathan Coleman to talk about that. Thanks, Nathan. Well, believe it or not, we do have a frost advisory through parts of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia for tonight. Okay, will it rain? Will it not? Maybe, yes, no. I know we say that a lot, but for a really good explanation, stay with us because Nicole Karkic and Jacqueline Whittle have a great story. As we get closer to that much anticipated weekend, we want to know about the long range, and with that, we check in with the expert, Mr. Dr. Doug Gillum. Okay, Doug, I see this and I see this. What's going on here?
Well, no more midsummer heat for the Great Lakes this weekend. Several days of cooler and more unsettled weather. Meanwhile, in the west, drier and warmer, but this pattern doesn't stick around for too long. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but first, as we take a look at Sunday, again, temperatures about 10 degrees cooler in southern Ontario than last weekend. You see the heat building in the west, Vancouver 28. Let's zoom in and look at...
That's warm.
It is, and even warmer. Port Alberni 32, and we'll see some low to mid 30s in the interior.
You think these are going to be going up?
Yes, I think maybe another degree or two.
I think so too. Now, in contrast, look at the east. I mean, we've got temperatures low, mid-teens.
Yeah, this isn't far off seasonal in the south, but yes, quite a contrast to where we've been. Only 14 to 15 Timmins, Kapuskasing with the rain. Now, on Sunday, the system is large but somewhat disorganized, not a total washout, but the system becomes more organized on Monday and brings a real soaking rain to the Maritimes and parts of Quebec.
Wow, okay, so we've been seeing kind of rounds of thunderstorms here and there, but I mean, temperature-wise, we're still looking at seasonal here.
Yeah, but in contrast, Calgary at 30, so the focus of the heat has shifted to the east and will continue to shift to the east as we go through the week. But Tuesday, the coldest day, well, it's the coolest day. 12
I call
in
it cold.
Timmins.
18, that's freezing.
Yeah, we don't reach 20 across most of southern Ontario. Not a washout, but some much-needed rain. Now, by the time we get to Thursday, much flatter flow across the country in terms of the jet stream. No hot weather. Temperatures are recovering in southern Ontario, but look at the heat across the central U.S. That hot weather will attempt to get into the Great Lakes. It'll run into resistance, but the good news there is that gives us the setup where we could see some organized rain and thunderstorms that is badly needed in southern Ontario.
Allowed back into town. The romantic city floods. And the Terminator's in danger? This is news in a minute. Fort McMurray residents return home. It's been 4 weeks after a massive wildfire forced 90,000 people to flee. Wednesday marked the first day evacuees began to return home. Officials say they need to make sure residents have water and food for 2 weeks. Heavy rainfall in France has led to severe flooding. People in some parts of Europe are navigating seriously flooded roads after days of heavy rains. In France, the Seine River spilled over its banks as Paris received 172 millimeters of rain in May, more than double its monthly average. Thousands of residents have been forced to evacuate homes and businesses. And Arnold nearly terminated? Video on YouTube showing a safari's close encounter with an elephant in South Africa. The elephant blocks the road, inspecting the group of gawkers, including Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then it chases the vehicle down as it departs.
Time now for a look at the weather across the country with Emily Vukovic, who joins us with your national forecast. Emily.
Thank you. Yeah, we are going to be seeing showers of our own moving in through parts of Ontario and Quebec throughout the day today. You can see on the radar here are the cells as they fire up. We're starting to see that line really develop kind of nicely over the lakes just east of Kingston up through Cornwall and Montreal. We're going to continue to see this front track its way east, giving us the chance for some isolated, possibly severe cells. We're looking at that slight potential for supercells firing up just to the north of Ottawa and through Mount Laurier, just on that Quebec-Ontario border. And for the most part, I mean, you can see some sunshine, and then all of a sudden it's pouring with rain. You got a thunderstorm. That's the joy of a cold front. We've got that heat and humidity. It's going to be firing up throughout the lower Great Lakes. In comes the cold front later on this afternoon. Those two collide. That's your convective activity. That's kind of when it starts to percolate, if you will. And that's where we do see those severe cells. Okay, so we're going to see some sunshine returning as we get closer to the weekend, which is good news. Saturday looks good. Sunday, I'll talk about that in a moment. In Atlantic Canada, there's that low. We've got that rainfall forecast, so the precipitation is going to be heaviest as it moves its way in through parts of New Brunswick and northern Quebec, and then it clears out with that sunshine as we get set up into the weekend. Temperature-wise, we're looking pretty good. Halifax cooler today at 12 degrees, Moncton at 19 degrees. Frost advisory again for tonight through Newfoundland and through parts of Nova Scotia. Temperatures have been cool, and here's this really cool contrast. Take a look at this. So area of high pressure, we've got that clockwise spin, so it's bringing in some northerly wind. And look at that, Charlottetown. Ooh, almost at -1. Well, 0, but almost. And then Yarmouth, in contrast, the daytime high yesterday, 24.7. Huge contrast. So that was the morning low for Charlottetown and in through parts of Nova Scotia. Through BC, we have been seeing some isolated non-severe thunderstorms firing up, but we do have a severe thunderstorm watch through Williams Lake. That trend is going to continue possibly throughout the day as the system moves its way east. We've got the risk of thunderstorms through parts of Alberta, in through Saskatchewan, and just to the southern sections of Manitoba. That low, it's going to move in, bringing much needed rain to other areas where not so much to some areas. We'll talk about Ontario coming up a little bit later on.
All right, so cute. Time now for a look at the weather across the country. Emily Vukovic joins us with your national forecast.
Thank you so much. That is like one of the cutest things I've ever seen. But I don't know, could you imagine giving birth in a parking lot? No thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. All right, through southern Ontario, we do have the risk for a few isolated storms today. We are going to be seeing showers as the system tracks its way east. We've got that kind of heat and humidity really starting to fire up throughout the lower Great Lakes, and we are going to be seeing that cold front push through later on this afternoon, and it's really going to be hit and miss along that cold front. So if you're in Mississauga, you could see some isolated thunderstorms, whereas if you're in Huntsville, maybe nothing. It's going to be one of those days. We've got mild temperatures returning to the area after the heat and humidity pushes through, and we're going to see some showers. The heaviest amount of precipitation is going to be through parts of Quebec and in through the maritime provinces. High pressure moves in behind it, bringing in cooler, drier air. So that heat and humidity is going to be short-lived when it goes through. 14 degrees through Charlottetown today, and through Moncton we're getting up to 19. Such a crazy contrast. Take a look. We've had a frost advisory in place through parts of Newfoundland and in through parts of Nova Scotia. That's overnight and early morning. So this morning, yesterday morning temperatures through Charlottetown, we were getting close to -1, hovering around that freezing mark. And then look at Yarmouth, 24.7 was the daytime high. And it's because of that high pressure, it was bringing in a lot of cooler air. Now to the west, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch through parts of British Columbia. We've been seeing cells kind of firing up through the last couple hours, and that thunderstorm risk stretches right through Alberta, Saskatchewan, and just in the southern end of Manitoba. Now this low, it's not very organized. It's kind of hit and miss again. We are going to be seeing those showers along the Saskatchewan-Alberta border throughout the day. Tomorrow, Fort McMurray could see a little bit of rain. We're seeing that people coming in, that re-entry process happening. And a lot of areas have seen a ton of rain, especially through southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba. Look at that, Pearson, 68 millimeters. I'm Emily Vukovic, taking a look at your national forecast. We've got stormy conditions moving through southern Ontario and southern Quebec throughout the day today. Some of the cells could be severe in nature. We're looking more so along the Ontario-Quebec border, just in the northeast of Ottawa. So we've been seeing quite a few storms in that area, and the biggest threat's going to be some small-sized hail, strong winds, heavy downpours. You know the drill. We've got the garden variety thunderstorms as well popping up just ahead of the cold front. The heat and the humidity really starting to build throughout the lower Great Lakes again today. But then behind this cold front, we've got cooler, drier air moving in, and so we're going to see a little bit of a break for the heat and humidity. And the beginning of the weekend looks good. The end of the weekend, I'll talk about that coming up. Showers and thunderstorms are going to stay mostly to the north and move their way through Quebec. We are going to be seeing that heavier line of precipitation moving in through the mouth of the St. Lawrence and in through parts of the Maritime provinces. High pressure again behind it, so we're going to see some sunshine, cooler, drier air. So for today, we're looking at 12 degrees through Halifax, 15 through Charlottetown, cooler day today through Moncton. This area of high pressure has really given us a contrast in terms of temperatures. We've got that frost advisory through Newfoundland, through parts of Nova Scotia, and through parts of New Brunswick. And look at the contrast of yesterday. This is so interesting. We had that frost advisory through Nova Scotia. Charlottetown saw a morning low of -1, where Yarmouth saw a daytime high of 24.